Karibu sana on the show, Jessica.
Thank you, Nancy, for having me.
We find that a lot of people don't understand the do's and don'ts when signing the dotted line. Everybody goes and buys a property, but they haven't done their due diligence and they don't understand what they're getting into. What advice would you give us?
We would say that when you are interested in buying or building a home or getting into the property market, it is important to have done your homework well. It is important to have the right set of professionals assisting you in the process. It is also very important to carry out your due diligence. You need to establish what are you getting into. Have you carried out searches on that property to determine the ownership, to determine whether the owner is actually the person having the right to title? Have you carried out a survey due diligence to establish the fixed boundaries of that property? It is also important to look at the geotechnical surveys, especially if you want to build on the property, to establish the sort of soil you will find in there, the topography, so that when you start building the building, you do not get into extra costs that you had not planned.
What are some of the factors that we find keep coming back? What are people not doing right?
When you look at the property market, one of the factors that keep coming up is the fact that most people venture into the property market without professionals. So you go buy a property, you meet somewhere and get into a contract. You do not have lawyers looking into the contract, you sign into the dotted line, but then later on you find out that the searches that you should have carried out before signing you haven't done, and you end up losing an investment. Apart from that, if you are building a home, you did not sign a contract with a contractor, for example, then the contractor is not meeting the timelines, the costs go high, and there is no fallback option because you did not sign a contract. So the fact that people do not involve the right professionals when they are getting into property investments keep on coming up when there are disputes that arise.
Okay, now I've started buying my property. I didn't involve a lawyer. I'm in the middle of it. I've already paid my deposit, sometimes 30%, 10%. Now I'm finding that there are challenges.
Yeah.
How would you unlock it?
As a lawyer, one of the things that is always, you can always do is vary the contract. For example, you get into the contract, you did not involve a lawyer, you have paid your deposit. There is nothing wrong with coming to vary the terms of that contract to put in terms that will protect you. So we would, for example, call for a meeting with the developer, negotiate on new terms and vary the terms of the contract so that the purchaser is protected. The second thing that would be done is just to ensure that if there was no due diligence that was done before you got into the contract, then when the lawyer comes in, they will do the due diligence.
So we'll start afresh.
It is important because you do not want to finalize and you find that, for example, the property has been mentioned in the Ndungu land report and therefore your investment goes to waste. So it is important then that the due diligence is carried out and you find mechanisms of protecting the purchaser at that stage.
There you have it. It's our responsibility to get all the information and associated background before making that crucial decision to buy a property.